morning. You're listening to The Brief Wake Up, your mindful start to the day. I am Handel, your daily coffee companion, helping you wake up informed, thoughtful, and maybe just a little amused before the day gets old. If you're commuting, corralling kids, or just standing in line for caffeine, you're in the right place. Let's get you caught up. This morning, as we get into the important stuff, our health, let's talk about something that hums quietly in millions of bedrooms: white noise. That steady hiss or whoosh has become a bedtime essential. But now researchers say there's a gentler sound that might be even better for your body and brain: pink noise. White noise works by blending every audible frequency at the same intensity. Think of it as an acoustic blanket. It covers traffic, barking dogs, even your partner snoring, so nothing stands out enough to wake you. It's incredibly effective for masking disruptions. But here's the catch. Because every pitch is equally loud, the higher tones can be harsh over long nights. And some research suggests that constant exposure to pure white noise can make your brain too dependent on it, to the point that true silence feels uncomfortable once it's gone. That's where pink noise comes in. It uses the same range of frequencies as white noise, but softens the highs and deepens the lows. It sounds warmer, more natural, like ocean waves, rustling trees, or a gentle rainfall. Scientists describe it as balanced chaos, random enough to hold your brain's attention, but calm enough to settle your nervous system. Studies from sleep labs show that pink noise can help people fall asleep faster and reach deeper, more restorative slow-wave sleep, the phase where your body repairs tissue, balances hormones, and consolidates memories. In fact, older adults exposed to pink noise during naps have shown measurable improvements in memory the next day. It's not just soothing, it's physiologically supportive. Apps like Calm, Headspace, and Noisily have caught on. Many now include dedicated pink noise soundscapes, sometimes blended with ambient music or guided breathing to relax your heart rate before bed. The key is moderation. Keep the volume below about 50 decibels, roughly the level of light rain, and use it just for sleep rather than throughout the day. It's a tool, not a crutch. So, here's the takeaway. White noise can help you fall asleep. Pink noise can help you stay asleep and heal while you do. Tonight, when you scroll through your Calm app or set your sleep timer, skip the static. Choose the rain. Choose the waves. Choose pink noise. Your brain will thank you in the morning. Next up is the news. Likely the biggest news discussed this weekend is a deal that might change the shape of entertainment forever. Netflix, once the scrappy DVD buy mail company, is buying Warner Brothers Discovery. Price tag: $72 billion in equity, $82 billion when you count the debt. That means the world's biggest streamer now owns Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, and Batman. Under the deal, Netflix takes over Warner Brothers Studios, HBO and Max, and DC Studios, while cable networks like CNN and Discovery spin off into a separate company called Discovery Global. On paper, it's the ultimate power move. For Netflix, it's not just about content, it's about evolution. It turns a streaming service into a full-blown entertainment empire, owning both the stories and the screens they live on. It's a play for legacy and for the future. But here's where the story gets more complicated. Politicians, unions, and filmmakers are already warning this could be an anti-monopoly nightmare. A merger this big could give Netflix enormous control over what people watch, maybe even who gets to create it. critics fear higher prices, fewer competitors, and less diversity in storytelling. And regulators in the US and abroad are expected to put this deal under a very bright microscope before it ever closes. Still, you can feel the momentum of history here. Because for a century, Hollywood ran on a clear rhythm. Studios made movies, theaters showed them, audiences watched. Then streaming broke that rhythm. One app, one company, doing everything from script to screen. With this move, streaming hasn't just challenged Hollywood, it became Hollywood. And there's a quiet irony in that. Netflix built its empire by breaking the system. Now it is the system. The same algorithms that once disrupted the studio model are now deciding what gets greenlit inside one of the oldest studios on earth. Instead of a producer in a backlot office, it's your watch history calling the shots. The data decides what stories survive. So maybe this isn't just a merger, it's a mirror. It reflects the way culture itself has changed. Faster, global, algorithmic, but maybe a little less wild. Hollywood once thrived on risk. Now it thrives on retention. Whether that's progress or consolidation depends on your point of view. But one thing is clear. When the world's biggest streamer buys one of its oldest studios, the credits are rolling on one era of Hollywood, and the sequel has already begun. Tech and culture is next. This morning's Tech and Culture segment is about something that says a lot about who we are, not just as consumers, but as humans: the lipstick effect. Economists first noticed it during hard times like the Great Depression. And again after 9/11, when the economy dips, sales of lipstick go up. People hold off on cars, luxury trips, and home renovations, but they still reach for small indulgences: a lipstick, a fragrance, or a new shirt. It's not vanity, it's psychology. When life feels uncertain, a small luxury offers control. It says, I may not control the markets, but I can control how I show up today. And here's the headline. The lipstick effect barometer is ticking upward again. Recent consumer data show that as global markets tighten, sales of small luxury and self-care items are quietly climbing, especially in the beauty, fragrance, and lifestyle tech sectors. Companies from Estée Lauder to Apple accessories are reporting stronger than expected sales in low-cost, feel-good categories. It's an emotional barometer of the times, a sign that when confidence dips, resilience rises in smaller ways. But in 2025, the lipstick effect has evolved. It's not just makeup anymore, it's digital lipstick. Instead of buying a new car, people buy AirPods, smartwatch upgrades, or AI-powered skincare tools. They might skip the designer handbag but spring for Spotify Premium, a digital photo filter pack, or a virtual outfit for their avatar. Economists are calling it the virtual lipstick effect. Micro purchases that keep our digital selves feeling confident, expressive, and connected when the world feels uncertain. And here's the deeper point. These small acts of consumption aren't just about spending. They're about staying human. They remind us of identity, normalcy, and hope. The lipstick effect isn't really about cosmetics. It's about resilience. It's the human instinct to find beauty, control, and self-expression, even when everything else feels unstable. So, if you've recently treated yourself to something small, a gadget, a new scent, or even a digital upgrade, don't feel guilty. You're not being frivolous. You're participating in one of humanity's oldest rituals, finding light in the dark, value in the small, and confidence in the mirror. Because sometimes, resilience doesn't look like saving. It looks like reminding yourself you're still worth investing in. The lighter roast is next. For today's lighter roast, our topic is grandparents are time travelers. You ever watch your parents turn into grandparents? The same people who wouldn't let you eat on the couch are now letting your kids draw on it in permanent marker. Suddenly, bedtime is a suggestion. Vegetables are optional. And don't touch that has turned into, oh, let them explore. At first, it makes no sense. But then you realize grandparents are time travelers. They've already seen how fast everything goes. They know the toy you're stressing over today will be sitting in a box tomorrow. The tantrum that feels like forever, it's gone in the blink of an eye. They've lived the part we're still figuring out. They know what really matters: laughter, patience, forgiveness, and making memories that stick longer than the mess. And here's the magic. For grandkids, grandparents are living time capsules. They're living proof that life doesn't end after the hard chapters. They show kids what continuity looks like, that love doesn't expire, it just changes hands. Every story they tell adds another thread to a family's fabric. They teach history without calling it a lesson. They teach patience without saying a word. And sometimes they teach joy, just by laughing at something that isn't even funny, because they're happy to still be here to laugh at all. When a grandparent holds a grandchild, it's more than affection. It's a handshake across generations, a silent promise that someone has walked this path before you, and someone will walk it after you. That's grounding. That's legacy. And maybe that's why they've softened. They spent their first act building, their second act worrying, and now they're finally free to just love. No agenda, no clock, just presence. Because they weren't strict back then because they didn't care. They were strict because they didn't want to lose a second. Now, with the seconds stretched out before them, they savor everyone. Grandparents aren't here to enforce the rules anymore. They're here to teach grace and to remind us that time isn't something you manage. It's something you share. So, if you're lucky enough to still have them around, call them. Let them tell the same story again. Because that's not repetition. That's remembrance, and them reminding us of our history. Our December 8th commemoration is next. For our commemoration, today, December 8th, carries a lot of history, heart, and reflection. For millions around the world, this is Bodhi Day, the day Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, found enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. It's a quiet reminder that wisdom doesn't always come from motion. Sometimes it comes from stillness. It's also the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, one of the most sacred days in the Catholic calendar, honoring purity, grace, and new beginnings. In Panama, this day is also celebrated as Mother's Day, a pairing that feels almost poetic, motherhood and creation intertwined. History also echoes through this date. On December 8, 1941, the United States declared war on Japan, one day after Pearl Harbor, marking its entry into World War II and reshaping the 20th century. 12 years later, President Eisenhower delivered his Atoms for Peace address to the United Nations, daring the world to use nuclear power for healing instead of harm. And on the same date, in 1987, Reagan and Gorbachev signed the INF Treaty, the first time nuclear weapons were actually eliminated, not just limited. But perhaps what many remember most is 1980. 45 years ago today, John Lennon was shot outside the Dakota in New York City. A voice of peace silenced, yet somehow still playing, still inspiring. Imagine, he once said, all the people living life in peace. And every December 8th, we remember how fragile and how powerful that idea really is. From enlightenment to remembrance, from conflict to compassion. December 8th seems to carry one theme through it all: the possibility of peace, if we're willing to learn from time. Today's show reminded us that wisdom comes in many forms, from the stillness of Bodhi Day to the quiet grace of grandparents who've already lived the lessons we're still learning. Whether it's nations choosing peace or families choosing patience, the thread that connects it all is time, shared, not spent. So, before the day rushes on, take a moment to reach back, look forward, and stay present, because that's where the good stories live. This is Handel for the brief wake up. Remember to be calm, kind, and curious. Top off that cup, and I'll see you tomorrow.